Freemasons, weird rappers selling their souls, and secret societies. All of these things are actually destroying your desired reality. Now, we have a saying over here, and that is spirituality without the ability to control your reality is vanity. And each one of these things, whether Freemasons, Flat Earth, weird rappers selling their souls, secret societies, it's all vanity. It's all vanity. AJ, I didn't hit this off, did I? It's blessed.
Yeah.
All of these things is complete vanity. They're actually things that are destroying your reality, because what these essentially conspiracies, whether they're true or not, we're not here to debate that. I'm only here for the people who want to create their desired reality, because really and truly, you ain't got no fucking business worrying about Freemasons, weird rappers selling their soul, and secret societies if you're not in your desired reality. How the hell does that make sense? That's complete idiotic use of your attention, especially understanding that attention is a centralization of energy. That energy compounds. That's what turns a vibration into a frequency, into a reality. And then when it's a reality, you're locked into a particular condition of reality. What I'm here to do is to help you get to your desired reality. But before we do that, I'm going to have to explain to you how these things actually have a very intricate trap, which a lot of people get caught up in. A lot of people get caught up thinking that they're awake without realizing that they're just being kept more asleep. That's a bar, write that down. Now let's get into it. And by the way, guys, you lot say my drawings are terrible, but Uncle Ruckus, he's behind bars. He's behind bars. Like, you can't tell me this drawing is not. You know what I'm saying?
That one's decent.
You know what I'm saying?
The Earth, though.
Say less. Say less. Now, before I actually explain to you the intricate trapping, you have to understand this, because if not, you're going to be kept in your current reality and even in a worse condition of reality. Not only will you stay where you are, but you'll actually descend into a lower state of consciousness and a lesser reality than what you possess the potentiality to create. So stay with me now. You're gonna get some. Don't worry. Niggas have been asking me for a while, Nero, why haven't you spoke on this? Why haven't you spoke on this? There you go. You manifested it. I guess you internally shifted to a degree to which you're no longer emotionally dependent upon seeing this video come into play, which, for those of you who don't know, that is my definition of manifestation. I repeat, manifestation is internally shifting to a degree to which you're no longer emotionally dependent upon seeing your reality change. When you're good with it and you're good without it, that is when you would have collapsed the energetic space, which more often than not is importance between you and your desired reality, and they merge into one. Now, I have to explain something to you guys first. And don't worry, you're gonna get some. You're gonna get some. Trying to decide if I really wanna go out tonight. Nothing feels right when I'm not with you. Sick of this stress and these Jimmy Choos. Taking them off cause I feel a fool. There's one thing I'm gonna have to explain to you guys first. Now lock in. So, first things first, I want you guys to understand, anytime that people go into spirituality, they often fall for an inherent trap within spirituality. There's a trap within spirituality. Now, the whole point of spirituality, so on and so forth, according to all these spiritual niggas that are high vibrational beings, so on and so forth. The whole point of spirituality is to essentially become awake. The whole point of being awake is having a high frequency. Now, having a high frequency, even though the spiritual niggas would make you think it's a form of toxic positivity, they simply don't understand what frequency is. Frequency is an energetic signature, which in consciousness is experienced in human beings as a level of awareness. So for you to have a high frequency, it's not about feeling happy all the time like you're on DMT or crack, smiling all the time, and if someone punches you in the face, you smile and hug them and say love and light, which is completely idiotic when spiritual people say that, because love and light has the polarity for hate and dark, which both need to coexist. You can't clap with one hand. As Phil Valentine once said, if I was to put you in a room full of light, you wouldn't be able to see. If I put you in a room full of darkness, you wouldn't be able to see. Neither is actually good. And this is the understanding that polarity is an illusion of this third dimensional realm that we live in. Our conceptualization of good or bad is nothing more than various degrees of the same energy, simply at different vibratory rates. But as we transcend outside of this third dimensional realm, everything is a sense of oneness. Now, understanding that, the whole point of spirituality, according to the spiritual niggas, of course, that don't drink and they don't eat meat and they do this and they don't say good morning, is to become awake. Being awake is essentially being on a high frequency. High frequency is having a simple high level of awareness. But so long as you are actually focusing on these different things, and for the mere fact, I'll call them conspiracies, but when I say that, one, I'm not saying there's no truth to them. I'm just saying they provide no truth for your desired reality. That's a bar, write that down. The whole point of these things essentially trap you into actually being low frequency. When I'm saying low frequency, I'm not talking about, eating meat and you listening to rap music, because I eat hella meat, pause, and I listen to so much trap music, you'd think I'm a drug dealer. But that's not the point. Being in a low frequency is having a low level of awareness. As human beings, when we have a low level of awareness, we descend into a frequency which is equivalent to survival. Now stay with me now, because there's two particular intricate traps that these things that I'm going to call conspiracies, once again, I'm not saying that they're real or not. I'm simply saying they possess no truth in your desired reality, and they actually hinder your desired reality more than not. And here's the thing, do you want to know every single fucking celebrity that has sold their soul, or do you want to be in your desired reality? Do you want to know why this food is a GMO product and all of this, or do you want to be in your desired reality? You need to make a decision. And if you don't want to be in your desired reality, then get the fuck off this channel, because the only thing that I'm here to do is to redirect people's attention to understand that spirituality without the ability to control their reality is vanity. Now, I've already been accused of being a reptile and a robot and a clone, so I'll probably get the controlled opposition allegations soon, along with the supposed baby oil allegations. I'm not oiled up. Now, if this whole point is to make you awake, by actually descending into a low frequency, you actually end up having a low level of awareness, which actually puts you into a point of survival, and then you actually become asleep. That's the first thing that I want you guys to understand. And I'll explain how this process happens on a multi-dimensional level across all three planes of existence, and how that traps you into the particular condition of reality. Because I remember when I was getting into all of this esoteric and occult stuff 8 years ago, and at this point I've read hundreds of books. All you have to do is go on my IG and look at my library highlight. Or, if you've ever seen my live stream, I've got all my books behind me, and even a lot more downloaded on my phone. When I was getting into all of this, when you go down this information of spirituality, you come across all this type of information that's to bring you some sort of level of awareness. You go into the Christian vigilante people who are like showing you all these celebrities and rewinding their songs and showing them making all of these signs and all of this. And that does something to your consciousness that you're unaware of. Consciousness is contagious, but consciousness is also becomes automatic. And for the mere fact that consciousness is automatic, while simultaneously the substance through which your universe, your reality is orchestrated and architected and created from, you actually put yourself into a position of building a house that you're not even aware of that you're building. That's a bar of that down. Now, like I said, there's something that I need you to understand first. By the way, somebody said, paying attention to Nero has saved me paying thousands in courses, retreats, and therapy. That's absolutely amazing. Thank you very much. That's very lovely of you. I genuinely appreciate that. Like I said, anytime that you guys update me on, how your lives have changed after implementing what we're discussing here, it makes me very, very happy. It makes me very, very happy. You need to give it up. Had about enough. It's not hard to see that boy.
So I decided to go on a helpful review section in the comments.
Yeah.
Someone said, "You're answering all my questions. Not gonna lie, if I see you, I'm kissing the big juicy lips."
Was it a boy or a girl?
No profile picture.
So, the Romans were once at battle with a neighboring nation called Troy. Now, the conceptualization of everything that I'm about to explain can be summarized into this one image. Now, this is a horse. Now, what the Romans did.
Give me a heart attack. What the fuck is that?
It's a horse.
You're taking this.
It's a horse. I feel like you're laughing too.
I'm gonna start buying you cutouts so you can stick on the board with some blue tape.
Anywho, so the Romans were once at war with a neighboring nation called Troy, but they wanted to deceive them. So they said to themselves, you know what? Let's go about this in a more sneaky way. We want to enter their walls, but their walls are too strong. The defenses are too good. Their D is too big. Pause. So we need to actually trick them through deception. I mean, if you've read The Art of War, Sun Tzu says all warfare is based upon deception, and that's exactly what they did. So what they did was something very, very intricate, and this is something that you can extrapolate to what we're discussing here in terms of getting you to your desired reality, but without realizing you're actually stuck in this. So what the Romans did, they said to themselves, let's offer a peace offering to these people that we're beefing right now. Let's give them a peace offering, but we're gonna give them a wooden horse. But in this wooden horse are our soldiers. And guess what? They had their swords while Troy was reeling in this big gift that they'd be given, reeling it in, the man them were pushing it in. Then when those doors closed at night, the Romans hopped out and took over the city. This is what's called a Trojan horse. It is deception. The way that you can think about Trojan horse is essentially something that on a surface level seems harmless, without realizing that this is more harmful than you could ever conceptualize. And this is the exact case with everything that I mentioned earlier. You worrying about secret societies, you worrying about these weird rappers and what they do and all of these bookie rituals and all of this and all of that they do. By the way, from my American people, bookie, when we say bookie, it means weird. So when I say like weird rappers, they're bookie, etc., etc. You worrying about if the earth's flying, all of this and all of that. All of these things are Trojan horses. There's a certain level of deception that on a surface level, you feel like you're actually getting something. You feel like you're becoming more aware, don't you? And you can walk out the street and look at all of these NPCs and think to yourself, look at all of these fucking bots. They're unaware of what's even going on. They're asleep. Without realizing one thing, and that's all of that information contributes absolutely zero to your elevation. Absolutely zero. Absolutely nothing. And when I say your elevation, I'm specifically not talking about you raising your level of consciousness or anything like that, because I'm not here to have those debates with you niggas. I'm just here to do exactly what the elite entrepreneurs do that are 6 to 8 figures. They hire me to help them double their revenue through practical esoteric principles. I'm just here to get you to your desired reality. Nothing more, nothing less. And this type of information actually gets you nowhere near your desired reality because it plays two dangerous things. Two very dangerous things. And I'm about to break them down now. Don't worry, relax, you're gonna get some. I just had to explain the concept of Trojan horse first, so you could understand how, on a surface level, something may appear to be harmless, but deep within it, it's actually a trap. And if you want to talk about how the elites are trapping you, etc., etc., they're actually trapping you through all of these things that you're looking into about them. So bar write that down and let me explain why. So, cool. So, número uno. Habla un poquito español. So the first thing that we're going to look at here is what it does, which is something very dangerous. Remember, there's two particular traps of what I'm just conceptualizing as conspiracies. And bear in mind, more often than not, for a lot of us, all this type of information is actually what got us here. So in a sense, it's something to be grateful for. I don't want the perception that you have for it to be inherently negative, because then that perpetuates you to only experience a condition of reality resonating with a certain level of negativity based upon the mere fact that your perception actually equates to your projection. But I've spoke about this numerous amount of times. But the first thing that it does is something very dangerous. The first trap of what I'm just saying conspiracies, bear in mind, I don't want niggas to be in the chat like, oh, it's not a conspiracy. You didn't see this. This came out. You didn't see the evidence for this. Yeah, nigga, I fucking know. That's not the point. I'm just using that word for the mere fact that it just conceptualizes these things very, very easily. I know more often than not, these things are truth, but remember, they're truths that actually serve no truth to your desired reality. That's the whole point of this. Spirituality without the ability to control your reality is vanity. I need to break your addiction that you have to all of this fucking, oh my God, this celebrity's a witch. Oh my God, they sold their soul. Oh my God, they sit with the devil, all of this and all of this stuff that black people especially fall through. And this really nigger shit. And this is particularly why we're trapped. And this first trap is going to explain that. Now, the first thing that these conspiracies do is to trap you into a survival state of consciousness. And by the way, I know some of you that have friends that are like all of these doom and gloom dark people who are just like, oh my God, you see this celebrity, you see this. Make sure you send them niggas this video. Make sure you send them niggas this video because they need to detach from this. Now, the first thing it does is trap you into a survival state of consciousness. What do I mean? I say this as somebody. In the occult, there's something that's considered the right hand path and the left hand. I actually studied both of these parts, demonology, all of that. So I've seen and studied all of this stuff. And the one thing that I can tell you that it did for me was absolutely make me go into a state of not only paranoia, fear, worry, sadness. Now, it's good to be aware of things, but to the extremity to which people continuously look into these things, it puts you into a particular state where I feel like I've spelled paranoia wrong. I feel like something's missing here, but it doesn't matter, who gives a fuck. All of these emotions essentially equate to a particular type of frequency. That frequency is what resonates with what's considered a survival state of consciousness. I'll get AJ to pull up the scale of consciousness. That survival state of consciousness is resonant with a reality that is survival. Remember, before anything can exist physically, it first exists vibrationally. Vibrationally is a combination of mentally and spiritually. Mentally and spiritually, more often than not, when you're reading into these things and watching videos, don't bullshit me, nigga. It makes you scared. I remember watching them Illuminati videos back in when it was peaking in like, what, 2016 or something. I would be terrified. And you have to understand that the universe has a particular function. For the mere fact that you are the universe, when you enter this particular state, any one of these emotional states, you then transition into something that's very dangerous, what I call the 2 M's of the universe. And I've made a full video on this, so go watch that. But I'll break it down simplistically right here. The first M of the universe is magnify. The universe will magnify your emotional states, because your emotional state is the basis of your frequency. Your frequency is the product code for the reality that the universe delivers to you. Now, because it magnifies that, when you're in a state of paranoia, it wants to make you more paranoid. When you're in a state of fear, the universe will make you more scared. When you're in a state of worry, the universe will make you more worried. When you're in a state of sadness, the universe will make you more sad. How does it do that, Nero? You're gonna get some. The way that it does that, on my knees, no diddy, which is actually quite fitting on this topic. But the way that it goes about doing that is through people, conditions, circumstances, and events. What do I mean by this? When you've just watched that video where they're showing you all the Illuminati are covering their eye like this, and anytime you see a nigga covering one of their eyes, you're like, That particular state of paranoia without realizing does something very dangerous. One, on a physiological level, because there's an aspect of your brain called the reticular activating system. The reticular activating system is a portion of your brain that essentially filters your reality in and out based upon what you're focused on. Now, focus from a point of metaphysics is a centralization of energy. Concentration and focus is a very powerful thing. Concentrated sunlight through a magnifying glass is powerful enough to start a fire. So imagine how powerful it is enough when it comes to the creation of your reality. When you're fixated on a certain particular state of paranoia, the universe then says, okay, they're in a state of paranoia, I'm going to magnify that. Why would the universe do something like that? Because the universe is you. It is the universe. You are a microcosm of the universe. You're a small aspect of the universe. Understanding this now, the universe will use people to make you more paranoid. It will use particular conditions in your life to make you more paranoid. It will create circumstances that make you more paranoid. It will create events in your life that seem, why the hell is this happening? Even more paranoid. It will, when you're in a state of fear, it will magnify that fear by using people, conditions, circumstances, and events. When you're in a state of worry, it will use people to make you more worried. It will make things happen in your life to make you even more worried. This is what the universe does and how it acts, because it is you. So then what's the second M? The second M is maintain. You have to understand that the universe likes a certain level of what I call energetic equilibrium. That's a fancy nigger way of saying balance. Because the universe likes balance, it also likes a certain level of convenience. That certain level of convenience is saying, when I've got you calibrated at this level, I want my job to be easy. So now I'm going to do my best to keep you at this energetic state so things are easy and convenient for me. So anytime you attempt to go out of it, it will hammer you back in. Now, understanding this, when you're at these particular states where you're looking into these things, don't bullshit me. You don't feel happy when you're looking at this, finding out what's happening across the world in all of these dark things. You don't feel empowered. You don't feel good. And you especially don't feel in control. You actually feel the opposite of emotions of everything that it is that you need. Because here's the thing, the universe can only give you what you've given to yourself. And if you're giving yourself paranoia, fear, worry, and sadness, that's exactly the events that the universe is going to use to materialize into your reality, etc., etc., etc. Now, it's important for you to understand that the only way you're going to get into your desired reality, the only way you will ever manifest anything, is by becoming the vibrational alignment of what that is. The vibrational alignment of that desired reality. And the only way you can become the vibrational alignment of a desired reality is if you internally shift to a degree to which you're no longer emotionally dependent upon seeing your reality change. When you feel so good internally and so complete that you're good with it and you're good without it. When you're in this state, you'll want your heaven even more because you've actually put yourself in a hell without realizing it, because that's nothing more than a state of consciousness. And ironically, religious people argue about who's right to go to heaven. Meanwhile, they all live in the same hell. That's a bar, write that down. Now, like I said, this traps you into a particular state of consciousness. And the thing about consciousness is that consciousness is a substance of reality, and it will always materialize into a particular condition of reality. So if you're in this consciousness, this frequency, and that frequency before anything can exist physically, it first exists vibrationally. And if it exists vibrationally, then that's a combination of mentally and spiritually. If mentally and spiritually you're resonating at a particular condition of paranoia, fear, worry, sadness, then that's the reality that you set in motion for the universe to build for you. It's very, very important you understand that. And if you want to talk about how the elites trap you, they actually trap you by making you so scared of them that it floods your consciousness with paranoia, fear, and worry. So then you put yourself into a box. Them niggas don't even have to come put you into a box, because you put yourself into a box simply based upon the frequency that you're on, because you can't perceive anything in reality that you're not the vibration of. I repeat, you can't experience anything in reality other than what you are the frequency of. So if you want to talk about how they trap you, this is the first step of how they trap you. They trap you by making sure that you are in a state of consciousness that's resonant with fear, worry, doom, gloom, sadness, the world's ending, end times. This is spiritual nigga end times, quite literally. Now the second one. And the second one has actually been told thousands of years ago esoterically in the Bible. Whew. Thousands of years esoterically in the Bible. I think it's been 2 weeks since I've been back from America, guys, and I'm still thinking about Chick-fil-A. They said that them burgers have like hormones and chemicals, addictive hormones. Bro, it's all I've been thinking about. It slaps different, bro.
Can't be that good, bro.
Nah, it's good, bro. Trust me. Trust me.
I think they need to have a Wall Street burger over there.
I'm not even gonna say nothing to you.
Nah, Wall Street burger in America was
Nah, American food is way better because they don't give a fuck about their health. Sorry, guys. Oh, you lot's government really don't care that much anyways. Because I'm thinking, because when I ate it, everybody's like, no, don't eat that. It's got addictive hormones in it. I'm like, what? Because in the UK, it's not that our health regulations and food and stuff is a bit more strict here. So you guys get away with things that we can't. Okay, so the second way that conspiracies trap you. It go Halle Berry or hallelujah. Pick your poison, tell me what you doing. Everybody gonna respect the shooter, but the one in front of the gun lives forever. This ain't entertainment. This phone nigga's on a slave ship. These soldiers are spirituals. That's why I'm against the waves with. Ended up unsure. Today amazement. I hope the example I set not contagious. Used to be stay safe, now stay dangerous. Cause ain't no point playing defense, nigga. That's why I dove off the deep end, nigga, without a life jacket. You know who said that?
Is that?
Nipsey Hussle.
Oh my gosh.
Don't do that, bro. Don't tell me you got a problem with Nipsey Hussle.
I don't have a problem.
So why did you say don't do that?
Let me know.
You guys see what I'm dealing with
Let
here?
me not.
You guys see what I'm dealing with here?
Shout out, what's her name? Lauren.
Lauren London.
Yeah. Good.
You know her. The second thing that conspiracies do is reinforce the lie that reality is out of your control. What do I mean by this? When you go down the path of studying all of this stuff, and trust me, there's not a secret single society that you can say that I haven't said, and I probably won't say for the mere fact that I don't know how YouTube works. I don't want them niggas to shadow ban me. Oh, alright. But all jokes aside, when you go down that path of particular information, it actually reinforces a lie, which is that reality is out of your control. It makes your world seem already set up. And when your world is already set up, on a physical level, we perceive it as being set up and orchestrated, so on and so forth. And it may very well be. But in your reality, what this resonates with and what this is a pattern of that you're unaware is the concept that your life is out of your control and you're down to destiny and fate. There is no destiny, there is no fate. The only fate that you will ever encounter is nothing more than the product of your mind. And that's quite literally the truth of reality. I need you to understand something, and we go back to the Hermetic principles. The first law of the universe is that the universe is entirely mental. Understanding that the universe is entirely mental, your world is created by you. But when you go down this particular path of information, it magnifies the power of these individuals. It magnifies the power of these individuals to such a degree that you actually relinquish some of the power that you're not even aware that you have. And when you relinquish that power, you relinquish your ability to reorganize your reality because you believe that your reality is organized by these puppet masters that are so big and so powerful that you have nothing but to do than to submit. Pause. And it's important for you to understand this because this is what happens psychologically. When you're reinforcing these ideas into your mind about how powerful these families are and how powerful they've been alive and how long they've been alive and all these things that they do, you're essentially training your mind to see somebody else. And I did tell you that this is spoken about biblically, esoterically. And if we actually go, where's my red pen? if we actually go to Exodus 7, we go to Exodus 7:1. When you actually fall for the second trick of conspiracies, you do something very, very dangerous. You make a false god into your reality. Esoterically, a false god is anything that you submit to, frequency-wise, other than you. And I say you because you are, as it says esoterically in Corinthians, you are the dwelling place of God. You are the temple of God. As Solomon said, the temple of God was not built with hands. You are the temple of God. John 10:34, is it not written in your law? I've said ye are gods, before the Bible bangers come and say, stop taking things out of context. You have to understand, in that particular chapter, Jesus was being supposedly spoken about as, you know, a liar and a blasphemer, so on and so forth. And when he was finally confronted, he says, is it not written? Didn't I tell you that you are gods? And I've asked multiple pastors this, and they all say, that's not what he meant. How the fuck do you know what he means? How could he mean something other than what is written? Quite literally. And you have to be very careful, because he also said he speaks in parables, but that's not a parable in of itself. But understanding Exodus 7:1, something very important happens there. This is the story of the Israelites being in Egypt under bondage and oppression. Pause on bondage. I know there's some freaky niggas in these comments. Bondage, oppression, suffering, etc., etc. Essentially a loss of control. The Israelites were under enslavement by the Egyptians and Pharaoh. Exodus 7. God says, so on and so forth. And I'm paraphrasing here, but don't worry, I know it very, very well. It says essentially, I have made thee a god to Pharaoh, and I've made your brother Aaron your prophet. Moses, God made Moses a god to Pharaoh. I repeat, God made Moses a god to Pharaoh. What does that mean? What we conceptualize as God, what we've been able to, well, what we've been conditioned to view God as, is some personality in the sky who has a bad day and he floods half the world, or he burns half the world, so on and so forth. But God is not a personality. The concept of God having a personality is inherently idiotic, because personality comes from, etymologically, the word persona. Persona is a mask. You can only have a mask if you exist within this third dimensional realm. God, being above our third dimensional realm, wouldn't have a personality. God is an impersonal state of consciousness, the most high consciousness that is within you, which is the portion of you that is infinite, trapped within your finite, the infinite inside the finite. Now, understanding this, if God made Moses a god to Pharaoh, then that means that God gave Moses the stronger frequency over Pharaoh. Understanding that, then, in this sense, how often do we create false gods? And in this instance, of course, we make false gods of everything, out of poverty, out of suffering, out of struggle, out of unemployment, out of disease. We make false prophets out of anything, and false gods out of anything. And I want you to conceptualize a false god is when you grant somebody the power to alter your reality. I repeat, a false god is anything that you prescribe power over to alter your reality and keep you down in submission. This is what happens when we're studying all of these conspiracies and you're reading upon all of these secret societies and these individuals that pull these strings and they've orchestrated this and they've done this. We actually reinforce into our minds that we aren't the ones who control our reality. And when you reinforce into your mind that you don't control your reality, you drain the power that you have and diminish it up to a point where you have nothing. So when you attempt to create something, you barely have anything left to create from. Now, it's important for you to understand, it is a lie that you do not control your reality. Now, here's the thing. Your reality is created by you. It is not created by anybody. But ironically, once you believe that somebody else creates your reality, you then grant that person the power to alter your reality. Not because they actually do, but simply because the only truth in reality is this. There are no truths in reality other than what the subconscious mind accepts as true. I repeat, there are no truths in reality other than what the subconscious mind accepts as true, because the subconscious mind is what's spoken about esoterically when it says from darkness to light. People think when they say darkness to light, they're talking about all of these people that do all these crazy things behind and all lies will be brought to the light. And so that's not what it means, because there's people that have done things to you in your life that you will die never knowing what they even done to you. There are crimes that people have committed that the world will die never knowing that they done. So darkness, when they're talking about darkness to light, they're not talking about from all the things people do in secret, it's going to be exposed one day. No, darkness to light is mind to reality. Because in Ephesians 5:13, it says, all things are made manifest by the light. For all things that are made manifest are light. Light is what you see around you, which is consciousness. Darkness to light is the mind creating things into reality. So this is a very, very dangerous lie, because you have to understand, your entire reality is nothing more than a product of your consciousness. Even in your lowest state, even in your lowest frequency, you're just the ignorant master of your reality. Even in your lowest state, you're still the physical expression of God. But they want you to forget that. Because if you are the physical expression of God, if you are God manifested, then how the hell could you submit to the idea that somebody else orchestrates your reality? And this is what the Egyptians fell into. And the Egyptians only became freed upon Moses learning the true name of God. I am that I am. And God, Moses says, who should I say sent me? He said, tell them, I am hath sent me unto you. I am. This is a combination of two words. I prefer pertaining to the ego, am pertaining to the present tense. This is a combination for a state of consciousness that hasn't been molded. Unmolded consciousness, that's what God is. The I am principle is a prerequisite to the creation of everything that you ever have created in your reality. Hence why Jesus says, let the weak man say, I am strong. This is the alteration on what you're designing God to be. I want you to understand, every time you say I am, you're saying God is. Every single time. Every single time. And think about it. When you say I am angry, you're saying God is angry. When you think, oh, I'm getting sick, you're setting in motion the potentiality for the unmolded state of consciousness to be molded into a potential condition where you are sick. And we do this all the time. Guess what? When you introduce yourself to somebody, what do you say? I am Nero. You are unconsciously identifying as God every single portion of your life, and you're unaware of it. And that's something that you only say physically. What about mental and spiritually? And it's not until the Egyptians were taught by Moses that I am principle upon God teaching Moses. By the way, Moses went up onto a hill to then be met by God. Going up onto a hill is an esoteric representation of ascending your mind beyond the world, above the world, everything that you see around you, referenced in Corinthians. All of that was a bar. Make sure you got that all written down. But this is the game. And there's one thing that you need to remember. There's one thing you need to remember. Don't worry, you're gonna get some. You're gonna get some. There's one thing you need to remember.
Not sure if you see him, but someone said they like how you change up your accent all the time in your videos.
They said they like how I change my accent all the time in my videos. Yeah, my accent's quite confused, to be honest. It's quite confused. Yeah, because I was born in the UK. I went to Zimbabwe and came back when I was 3. And then when I came back to the UK, I lived in a place called Portsmouth. Portsmouth is like the whitest area ever. I lived in Portsmouth for like 3 years. When I was 6, we came to the West Midlands where I'm at right now. And I've been here ever since. So, and plus all the American TV shows and all the songs, it's a bit, even people from the West Midlands say I don't sound like I'm from here. Everybody assumes I'm from London, but no, I'm not from London. I'm from the West Midlands. I grew up in a place called Wolverhampton, to be precise. Every time I tell somebody that I'm from Wolverhampton, they're like, you're from the trenches. The AJ is the one from the trenches.
Not as bad as you, but.
Huh?
Not as bad as you. Handsworth is pretty safe.
Handsworth, you know. Handsworth is like Chirac. The equivalent. So, here's the thing. And let me put this in red so you understand the severity of this. Somebody said something like, oh, what Nero does when he wipes his board is something really smart because, what did he say? It's a clarification pause and this is a behavioral learning technique and all of this. My nigga, I appreciate the credit, but I'm just cleaning my board. I'm literally just cleaning the board. I'm just cleaning the board. But that's cool though. You definitely taught me something. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Understand this. Let whoever runs the world run it. You just have to run yours. And this is the totality of everything that I've spent this video talking about. You have to come to the understanding that, yes, there may be people who run the world, but that isn't your concern, because spirituality without the ability to control your reality is vanity. Your sole focus should be getting into the frequency of your desired reality, so you're actually living in a condition that actually matters. How the fuck can niggas tell me every single thing about every single secret society, but they're still living in a condition that they don't like? That doesn't make sense, and that's a waste of your energy. All that energy, which you don't even realize is the universal currency of God, all that energy that you're unaware of that is you're investing in, is bringing you a return that you don't like. So why don't we redirect all of that elsewhere and actually get you to understand it doesn't matter who runs the world. Let whoever runs the world run it. You just have to run yours. And the only way that you can do that is by coming to the understanding that your reality is created by you. Detach, one, coming to the understanding that all of those conspiracies are nothing more than tricks, Trojan horses, to get you into a state of consciousness of paranoia, fear, worry. Bear in mind, I'm not saying ignore that stuff. I don't believe in willful ignorance. A lot of spiritual niggas like to ignore the dark aspects of reality. I'm not saying that. I'm saying don't overexert yourself more than you need to, because that particular state of consciousness will lead to creation, and that will lead to a particular reality where you are experiencing conditions, events, circumstances, and people that make you more paranoid, conditions, circumstances, and people that make you more fearful, conditions, people, circumstances, and events that make you more worried, conditions, people, circumstances, and events that make you more sad. And then you'll be trapped in that particular frequency, and every frequency must become a reality. Before anything can exist physically, it must first exist vibrationally. Vibrationally is a combination of mentally and spiritually, and everything that you hold mentally and spiritually will lead to creation, because you can only have what you already have. And the world that you live in is nothing more than built by the bricks of your mind, and the bricks of your mind that you're building with right now are bricks that are resonant with actually building a shed instead of the palace that you actually should be living in. And the second thing is coming to the understanding that you don't want to be trapped like the Israelites, who believed in the power and the oppression of Pharaoh, granted by the consciousness that they were giving to him through the idea that he's the one that's controlling everything in their life. I don't give a fuck what goes on in anybody else's life except yours, and neither should you, down to the understanding that all of these secret societies have no power over you other than the power you give them. And ironically, the power you give them actually grants them entry into your mind, and when they enter your mind, they can enter your reality and rearrange that however they fucking want to. And you have to come to the understanding and reclaiming and doing what God did to Moses. And God made Moses a God. God made you a God too. God gave you the power to create your reality. You simply forgot. And you didn't forget, you simply became unaware of the power that you hold over your reality. So you simply need to take that power back and decide that nobody can create your reality except yours. And that's something I want you to say. And I need you to understand, let whoever runs the world run it. You just have to run yours.